Hello, what's going on? Today, we're making a video on how to travel Vietnam. So we're going to make this short and simple and get straight to the point. The things we're going to be covering are the route, the budget, so how much you're going to be spending each month and each day. We're going to talk about food. Also, we're going to be talking about transport and how you're going to be getting around to each destination. And we're also going to be talking about accommodation and places you'll be staying.
So the route that we travelled to Vietnam was Hanoi, Hue, Hoi An, Dalat, Mui Ne and Ho Chi Minh City. Now we're going to break them all down. Hanoi. This is where you either start or end your journey. For us it was the start. Expect to see mopeds everywhere, and even crossing the road can be an experience. Vietnam is rich in history, so make sure you make time for the Ho Lao prison. I think that's how you pronounce it.
But if you're starting your journey there, it's a good experience to just wander around, see what Vietnam has to offer and just get a feel for it. So after that, we did take a bus ride to Hue. Although we heard good things about Hue, we personally didn't enjoy it that much and we didn't get too much done there. And we decided to cut our trip short on Hue and move on to Hoi An. However, if we could go back to Hue, there was one thing we didn't know about, and it's an abandoned water park. If you do go to Hue, make sure you go and visit this place. We saw pictures after and we was like, why did we not go and see that? So it's like a water park that started to get built and then they stopped building it and you can just go there. Good experience, I guess.
Next stop was Hoi An, and Hoi An was our favourite destination in the whole of Vietnam. We loved spending our days cycling through the lantern-lit town, spending time by the river and eating delicious Vietnamese food. So Hoi An is packed full of side street cafes and most popular for tailoring clothes.
You can get your suits made there, dresses, loads of other clothes, very cheap, and they'll send it home to you as well. If you are interested in Vietnamese food, they do a full day eating tour where we literally went around the whole day with a local and they took us to all these different destinations and we just tried all the Vietnamese food. We had way too much food. If you want to see the video to that, we'll put the link in the description, but we definitely recommend doing that. After leaving the beautiful town of Hoi An behind, we then moved on to Dalat. The only reason we actually went to Dalat was mainly for the canyoneering, which was one of the best experiences of our whole entire trip. We had so much fun.
It was the best day out. Dalat is known for canyoneering, so make sure you have time to do it.
Also, we went up to the cable carts in the mountains and that was very beautiful as well, seeing the Vietnamese countryside. And then we also went to the weirdest weirdest place I've ever been to in my entire life. It's like a bar and you go into the bar and it's like a maze and it has, how many stories is it? Like six?
Six.
And it's weird. You have to go there to experience it.
It's called 100 Roofs Cafe.
Yeah, and then you get to the top and you can see the city view, but it was the weirdest experience. So if you do go to Dalat, make sure you go and visit this bar. It's one of the best experiences of our travels and one of the weirdest things I've ever been to in my life.
So after Dalat, we took a long 7-hour coach ride to Mui Ne, and although Mui Ne is known for the sand dunes, we didn't experience that, but we did see a wicked sunrise and a sunset.
Personally, I would say miss out Mui Ne, as there was not really that much going on there. It was kind of boring, to be honest.
It was boring, and the beach was actually really dirty.
I think it was it's more for people going on holiday there. So to end off our trip in Vietnam, we ended it in Ho Chi Minh City, which is one of my favourite cities in the whole of Asia. It's a vibrant, bustling city, and the amount of mopeds there will throw you back.
But you will see the weirdest things that people carry on the back of their mopeds.
Just unbelievable. We seen a guy carrying like a desk on his moped.
A wardrobe.
A wardrobe on his moped. So.
But Ho Chi Minh City was a great way to say goodbye to Vietnam. It really was lovely. The next topic we are going to be talking about are the costs, money and budget. So for us, we budgeted for £1,000 each per month, which equal to £35 a day. However, having a smaller budget is really easy in Vietnam.
Yeah.
The street food is so cheap and it's so delicious, so you could live as cheap as £20 each a day, which tallies up to £500 to £600 per month.
Accommodation. So for us, for our accommodation, the budget was £10 each a night, so about £20 for a hotel room. There's cheaper options you can go for. There's hostels for maybe £3 or £4 a night. Look around and you'll find cheap hostels and hotels.
You will be surprised at how nice the rooms are for how little money you are spending.
100%.
Also with accommodation, don't stress too much. You can find rooms on the day, or you can use popular apps such as Booking.com and Agoda, Hostel World and Hostel Bookers.
Travel and transport. So Vietnam will mainly be consisting of long long bus rides,
and overnight sleeper trains.
Expect to see as many people as they can squash onto one coach as you can. We'd be on coach journeys going through the little towns, and then they stop off. Locals get on with stools and just sit down in the middle of the coach, and that's just normal.
So have an open mind. It is going to be really different to where you live, but it's fun, just enjoy it. Expect to pay around £5 for a bus ticket and around £10 to £15 for an overnight sleeper train. Food. So Vietnamese food was absolutely delicious. Each meal had so much flavour, so you shouldn't leave without trying the famous banh mi. Each street food meal costs on average 70p to £1.50, and you can get beer as cheap as 25p.
Yeah.
Vietnam is really cheap to eat.
Now we're going to get on to 10 top tips that we think are going to come in handy whilst you travel around Vietnam. So make sure you visit the world famous Ha Long Bay. A beautiful experience. Even though it was gloomy and not very sunny when we were there, we still loved it. It was still amazing. So around 2 days and 1 night will cost you about £80. So you have 2 days of activities, obviously 1 night on the boat, and still a great experience. You can get a lot done in that time. Some people do go for 2 nights, 3 days.
Tip number 2. So this country requires a lot of bargaining. You will get pestered the most in this country, but don't be afraid. Knock down your tuk-tuks half price. Don't be afraid to walk away from a deal. Just bargain hard.
So tip number 3, if you're unsure on prices of taxi destinations or local food or something like that, normally just ask your hotel and they'll probably be willing to help you and give you a rough guide of how much it will be, rather than you going out and guessing yourself and getting ripped off.
Tip number 4, make sure you sort out a Vietnam visa before entering the country. It normally requires you to go up to a Vietnam embassy wherever you live and pay around £50 for a 30-day visa. You can pay, I think it is £100 for 60 days depending on where you're going.
Tip number 5, if you're running low on money or you just want to save a bit of money, get on the overnight sleeper trains. They'll save you money. They might be long, but overall they're going to save you money, and it's a good experience.
So tip number 6, if you can make it in time for the Lantern Festival in Hoi An, then do so. It's meant to be really beautiful, and unfortunately we wasn't there to spend it.
Tip number 7, a great way to get around Vietnam, obviously moped, but the roads are kind of crazy there. We'd say get out a bicycle and just cycle around and take it all in. It's a great way to see it without being caught up in all the craziness.
Tip number 8, be prepared to be pestered all the time. When they see Westerners, they instantly think we're rich, so just be ready for that.
Tip number 9, always ask how much for the street food, because normally they'll try and charge you more than what they would normally charge.
So as soon as they've served the food, you have to pay whatever they say. So clarify it
I'm
before.
pretty sure a few times we got ripped off.
Tip number 10. So if you're travelling with 4 people, try and book an overnight sleeper train in advance. That way you can share a bunk all together.
If you're travelling in just the 2s like me and Mia, we booked our train, and luckily enough we got a reasonable couple. They're very nice, so we were lucky. But we did hear when some people would get put with locals and they'd just be sitting there staring at them, and that's a bit uncomfortable. We don't really want to be doing that, so try and find another 2 and try and pair up and then book it together and try and get on the same seats.
So that is the end of the video. I hope we covered some good information and everybody enjoyed it.
We have done an overview of the whole of Southeast Asia. We did travel for 5 months around there. We went to Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia and Philippines. So in the description below there's an overview of the whole of Southeast Asia.
We also did create daily vlogs whilst backpacking, so if you want to check it out and see more of Vietnam and the whole of Asia, then the link will be in the description below.
Also, we're going to be posting some links on our website to do with Vietnam, to do with Asia, just loads of different links which might help you along your travels around Asia depending on what countries you're going to. And we are going to be making individual videos on how to travel the countries we just mentioned. So if you are going to be doing this route and going to the country we mentioned, then look out for them.
Thank you for watching, and most importantly, have fun on your trip in Vietnam.
And if you have any questions or queries, hit us up on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or just comment below. It's all at me and my missus, and we'll be willing to help you. Goodbye.